During the days of Moses, the Hebrews suffered for generations under the oppressive rule of Pharaoh. Their hearts were heavy with sorrow, their bodies weighed down by the burden of slavery. In their anguish, they cried out to God, and in His grace, He heard their pleas. God raised up Moses as His deliverer, using him to unleash a series of plagues upon Egypt in order to convince Pharaoh to let his people go. And so, through Moses, God hand-delivered the plagues. The Nile turned to blood. Frogs swarmed the land. Lice infested every household. Flies filled the air. The livestock of the Egyptians died. Unbearable sores broke out across Egypt. Hail rained down with fire. Locusts devoured the crops, and a suffocating darkness blanketed the land. After each devastating plague, Pharaoh was given the chance to relent, but his heart only grew harder. Because Pharaoh's heart remained hardened, God sent one final judgment, one that would finally break his resolve. The angel of death was sent, moving through Egypt with the weight of God's wrath. It would visit every home, and the firstborn of every family would die. The screams of devastation would fill the air, and the land would mourn. But in His great mercy, God made a way for His people to be spared. He commanded Moses to tell the Hebrews to take a spotless lamb, one without blemish, a lamb of perfect sacrifice. They were to slay it at twilight and smear its blood on the doorposts of their homes. The blood would be a sign, a mark of deliverance. When the angel of death came, he would see the blood and pass over that house, sparing the firstborns inside. And so as the night deepened, the Hebrews waited in trembling anticipation, knowing that the fate of their firstborns depended entirely on the blood of the Lamb. As the angel of death moved closer, its presence was felt like an ominous shadow. It entered the homes of the Egyptians, and one by one, the firstborns were struck down. Sons, daughters, animals, all falling as it passed by. But when it came to the homes of the Hebrews, it stopped. It saw the blood of the Lamb on the doorpost, and in that moment, it passed over them. That fateful night, Pharaoh's own firstborn son was struck down, and the cries of grief filled the land. The devastation was overwhelming. Pharaoh had resisted for so long, but now, faced with the loss of his own child, his pride crumbled. In his distress, Pharaoh urgently called Moses. At last, he told Moses to take his people and leave. And with that, the Hebrews were set free. On that night long ago, in the stillness of Egypt, a cry echoed through the land, a wail of anguish from a nation struck by death, a judgment from God. But in the homes marked by the blood, there was peace, silence, life. We too stand before a coming judgment. When death comes to our door, will we be ready? Just as God provided deliverance for the Hebrews, so too did He provide a way for us to be saved. Do you know Him?